Go.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Navient Solution Spotlight for ShareBase for Insurance. Just as we get started here, just wanted to cover a few housekeeping items. Everybody is actually muted on the GoToWebinar because we are recording this session. You will get a copy of this video once we have a chance to publish that. We'll send you a link to it. So if you do need to communicate with us in any form or fashion, whether you're having issues with the GoToWebinar or if you have any questions, please use the questions section or the chat box within the GoToWebinar panel that appears on the right side of your screen. And just a reminder, please take a few moments at the completion of this GoToWebinar to complete the survey. We're always looking for new topic ideas. We want to understand how well we're serving your needs with these different webinars, so please take just a few moments and answer that survey for us. My name is Guy Schrader. I am the Manager of Sales Engineering with Navient, and with me today as our presenter is Paulina Carnes. She is with Hyland Software and is a ShareBase sales consultant. So with that, Paulina, I will turn it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Guy. Throughout today's webinar, we will explore ShareBase and what is it, how you can gain value from it, as well as what does it look like in a software demo environment. And today, content management and content creation have come together to provide you and your users with tools to easily collaborate as well as store content. But while these tools work well for individual or small groups, how do they really fit into the corporate landscape? And so there are many competitive products out there for sharing and collaborating on content, but they may not leverage your current investment. ShareBase provides the best of both worlds. It will leverage your existing on-base investment, or if you're new to us, maybe your future on-base investment, by enhancing the automated processes you have set up with secure external sharing, and at the same time, provide your organization with an internal collaboration tool and controlled remote access to your content. And so just a quick AIM statistic. The AIM research shows that there's 58% of organizations who would prefer a collaboration tool that was either an extension or a direct integration with their current ECM platform, which of course is fantastic news because ShareBase is organic to Hyland, and we have created the product for the enterprise use and with our on-base customers in mind. And before we start with how OnBase and ShareBase works together, I would like you to think about how you and your employees are sharing content today. Are you using any of the uncontrolled methods? Perhaps emailing, which we know is not secure, or maybe you are sharing external hard drives and hoping not to lose them, or maybe you allow your employees to use their personal sharing tools, like Google Drive or Dropbox, and particularly these items should be used for sharing family pictures, right, rather than, let's say, an insurance claim. And what about the hard-to-manage tools? The FTP sites or the encrypted email or even the portals are definitely more secure, but they can also offer, they can also often require assistance from your IT team that may already be overburdened. And what about some of your internal information that you need to share outside of your organization? And yes, I'm even talking about the on-base content. How are you securely sharing the on-base content? So with all those questions in mind, is there a better way to do things? And I absolutely believe that there is a better way to do things with ShareBase by Hyland. ShareBase is your cloud-based sharing tool specifically designed for the corporate enterprise use. And it allows your employees to share information while you as the organization still retain the control and visibility over what is being shared. You can share the information both inside and outside of your organization. And most importantly, as I mentioned, you can share on-base content as well. ShareBase includes the strong capabilities and controls that you've come to know with on-base, and it's available from your desktop, your web browser, or even your mobile devices. And with ShareBase, you gain visibility into content sharing across and outside your organization. This is where the ShareBase accounts are created at the corporate level by your system administrator rather than individuals creating personal sharing accounts. And because of that, all activity is then able to be tracked all the way from folder level down to individual documents. You also retain control of the business information being shared, including setting sharing periods or recommended expirations, as well as a watermark feature that is really meant to prevent or prohibit external users from maliciously utilizing view-only documents, right? Because they can still potentially take a screenshot or maybe even take a photo with their mobile device. And also, as users change roles or leave your organization, your administrator can easily transfer those existing sharing rights as well as the existing content to another user, and all the while making sure that it's the appropriate users that have access and the sharing rights for their existing business content. And so ShareBase then further allows to empower your users. So they are able to share and determine rights of their own viewers. And how are they determining the rights, whether it's a download right or upload, edit, or even view rights for both folders and document level. And even more, they have the ability to set expiration dates. So that way they can ensure that external parties with whom they've shared this information with are no longer, they have no longer access to the information than they should. And also ShareBase is accessible via the web and mobile apps, as I've mentioned, making sure that your users can securely share content from anywhere at any time. And as you think about users across your entire organization, ShareBase can be used in every department to help streamline the sharing and collaboration of content. And before we dive into OnBase and ShareBase, let's talk about the ShareBase security. With ShareBase, your organization's data is going to be hosted not in a public shared cloud, but in the Hyland cloud, which is a privately managed multi-instance cloud purpose-built for securely hosting and managing sensitive and critical corporate information. The Hyland Cloud offers regional data centers. We are all over the world, ensuring that your data is backed up and available for disaster recovery. In addition, your ShareBase data is never commingled with other organizations' data. Each customer has their own deployment with their own database and also with their own encryption key. And so all ShareBase documents are also then encrypted both in transit and at rest. And if you are a security guru at your organization and you'd like some more information, we do have a security brochure available for you to download from our sharebase.com page. Or you can, of course, reach out to Guy and he can further point you in the right direction. Now, let's talk about ShareBase working together with OnBase. Why is that so important? When the sharing tools that your employees are using are completely separate from the core system, so in this case OnBase, this can result in the users manually copying documents out of OnBase and manually placing them into other locations, or vice versa. Maybe they're copying them out of other locations and manually placing them back into OnBase. As you can imagine, this can result in an explosion of unmanaged copies and versions and increase the likelihood of the errors. So ShareBase eliminates these issues by interacting with OnBase. And how does that actually happen? Based on your business rules, OnBase workflow can trigger events which auto-create a folder in ShareBase and add OnBase documents into that folder. And it can also generate a ShareBase link that can be sent via a notification to non-OnBase users to either view or edit or upload into those folders, depending on whichever rights you choose to grant. The OnBase interaction with ShareBase reduces the manual steps and replaces your email as the primary method of sharing, providing a secure area in ShareBase to access the OnBase content. And when documents are uploaded to ShareBase, OnBase can automatically capture them, eliminating reliance on either email or FTP sites and USB drives when sharing documents outside of your OnBase. Folders and documents can be securely shared with people who do not have access to OnBase by using these ShareBase links, which can be password protected or even set to expire at a certain point in time. As you can see here, there are currently 4 OnBase workflow actions available since OnBase 15 Service Pack 3 or higher, allowing you to dynamically customize your sharing process to fit your needs. And so the next part of our webinar, I'm going to focus on some of the use cases that brought value to our life insurance customers, how they have been able to share documents both internally and externally, how customers are able to receive documents from those outside of their organization, and finally, how you can collaborate on documents internally and leverage all of the inherent features of ShareBase that we just went over. So to start, we will go through the sharing of documents. In this scenario, the insured goes online and submits one of the standard forms you have, for instance, separation of service. This scenario can be applied to many other standard forms or even application submission processes, which we will actually cover a little bit later as well. Once the caseworker receives this separation form in OnBase, they notice that there is some information that is missing or needs additional clarification. This may be a signature or a discrepancy in the actual amount being requested. To get this particular form revised, that caseworker has the ability to share this form back with the requester right from this workflow screen. So by hitting the Share Document task in the ribbon, OnBase will create the external link through ShareBase for the end user to receive this document for revision. The next step for me as the caseworker is to enter the email address of that person that will need to revise the form. And once that form is filled out with the contact information, an email notification is then sent to the insured, as seen here. These email notifications can be customized to read whatever your organization would like and include those ShareBase link. You could also password protect these links, as we've mentioned earlier, where a separate email would be then sent to that requester with their individual password. And upon receipt of the customized email, and entering that password, they gain access into the ShareBase folder. So what you're seeing here is the external access into that particular document that we need them to edit. To edit the document, they have the ability in the top right, as you can see, to download the document locally. So whether they need to provide a signature and maybe re-upload the form or provide any additional adjustments to the document. And once that document is uploaded, that caseworker can go on working through the request. Another common use case for life insurers is the misplaced contract packages. When there is a misplaced contract package request, typically that would go to a distribution facility, and the turnaround time is usually between 3 and 5 days until it's printed and shipped. Oftentimes, that misplaced or duplicate contract package is not just requested and delivered to the insured, but also to the agent that may manage the relationship with the policyholder. So it's been stated by life insurance that the cost of printing that misplaced contract package can be in excess of $100, and on a yearly basis for a smaller insurer can be repeated over 1,000 times. But for the larger insurers, that number would be much higher, upwards of 50,000 per year, depending on how many customers you have. It's also not a guarantee that that individual that you are sharing that packet with ever actually receives that misplaced contract package, where when sharing with ShareBase, you have the auditability and security features that many of our customers have become accustomed to in using an OnBase. So now let's talk about receiving trailing documents that go along with an application. First, the agent meets with the eventual policyholder, and they walk through the actual submission of the application for life insurance. And so once that document is filled out, it once again is uploaded into OnBase, as you can see here. And once again, it's in the queue of the caseworker or the case manager. And the case manager is then working through the policy, but again, notices that on page 6, there's a box check that the policyholder would like to add an accidental death benefit. And we don't have the additional form and signature filled out for that particular selection. Through this workflow process, right here in the top ribbon, we can select Request a Document through ShareBase. This is when the document is delivered, when the request is delivered to the future policyholder via an email notification. Again, reminder that you can customize this notification. And at this point, the submitter has an empty folder with the ability to upload or drag and drop a document into the folder. And as they choose the document to upload into ShareBase, they can preview the documents that they've chosen and uploaded and proceed with the process. From a departmental experience, this speeds up the ingestion of the appropriate documentation into the policy that the caseworker is already working, and overall that speeds up the delivery of the policy back to the policyholder. Once the documents are available in OnBase, the keywords associated with the original application are then also inherited, as you can see here in the panel on the right, and those documents can continue on within the workflow process. The final piece that I wanted to talk to you about today is also the collaborative nature of ShareBase as a standalone solution. There are many features within ShareBase available, and we're more than happy to provide a full demo, but today I wanted to concentrate just on the collaborative features. With the knowledge worker nature of the underwriter, ShareBase makes things easy to collaborate with your peers. Oftentimes, as an underwriter, maybe a remote employee, and maybe as they're getting ramped up, they may need a second set of eyes on their work by either a superior or another peer. And so once they have a document that has been shared, they can choose to collaborate on this document by hitting the Edit button within ShareBase, and this will launch the document in its native file format, in this case, the Microsoft Excel, without having to actually download out of the application to make the changes and then again re-upload. And so in this example, we're going to take that green column and change it into a yellow column. And when we hit save and exit the document, it'll automatically become updated in the ShareBase application in the web. But not only does it get automatically updated, it also creates a new version. As you can see here, there are a couple of versions that I have worked with Pete, where he provided some additions in here. They are time-stamped, but you can also promote old versions to be current again, or you could download old versions if you needed to do any kind of reference or side-by-side comparison. It's also important to note that all activity on these documents is tracked. So as you can see here, additional people have viewed the document, and furthermore, you can also search for this activity, whether you're searching by the username or the activity itself, or maybe the file name. This can quickly give you some additional insight on who's interacting with your content. Another great feature of ShareBase is the ability to have internal collaboration tethered to the document via the comments panel. Here in the comments, you can tag other users and provide permanent comments that are sent via an external email notification to the user in case the comments are urgent. And as you can see, it's also time-stamped for any additional audit trails. I just wanted to share one final use case where ShareBase control and security can be of additional value to you. From the sales side, oftentimes internal consultants need to share long lists of customer information with outside wholesalers selling the products to either brokers or advisors. These long spreadsheets with leads are often shared via email and downloaded locally by the brokers and the advisors. Once that information is downloaded locally, it's really out of your control, out of your organization's control, which can, of course, lead to any kind of data breaches. But even more common, what happens is one of these individuals leaves the organization or starts selling competitive products. What happens then? They have complete access to that lead list that your organization provided. Whereas with ShareBase, you have the ability to securely share the proprietary information, but at the same time revoke access once that individual moves on from your organization, prohibiting them from utilizing that information for their own personal gain. In recap, the share-based solution can really be applied in any scenario where the organization's needs include automated sharing, like in my OnBase example, or empowering users with remote access via the mobile browsers, as well as the corporate control and sharing and revoking of the rights. It can be even more so effective, as I mentioned, with your actual process management within the OnBase solution. So if you liked what you saw today, or maybe you have some additional questions about our use cases, or you'd like to explore some of them, we are very happy to connect with you to provide a demo. You do have Guy's contact information right in front of your screen, and you can also utilize the chat and the questions panel within the GoToWebinar to submit any of your questions. But while I give you time to do that, I also wanted to quickly revisit some of our ShareBase frequently asked questions that relate to security or signing up. And so I did want to mention that, again, we do have a security brochure within the sharebase.com page. And I want to point out that the Hyland Cloud goes through significant security standards. And so we are ISO 27001 certified, and we also go through annual audits of SOC 1 and 2 and or 3 for security purposes. And then one of the other questions we often get related to licensing is, can you utilize ShareBase without OnBase? And the answer is absolutely. ShareBase is an ideal way to securely share important documents while still ensuring that the organization retains the control. But it should be understood that OnBase workflow has a natural interaction with ShareBase, extending your business processes, right? So just as we went through the demonstration, even though we were clicking the buttons for the tasks to share the information, it can be completely automated behind the scenes based on either a time or an event in the process. And finally, how do you sign up for ShareBase? And signing up for ShareBase is easy, so simply contact Guy from the information we've provided, or again, the chat panel, so that way we may provide you with a demo and supporting documentation. And last but not least, we have an additional announcement for you, and I will turn it over to Guy to discuss.
Well, thank you very much, Paulina. Very informative information pertaining to ShareBase as well as interaction with OnBase. We want to leave just a few moments here to ask any questions, so please use that questions panel within the GoToWebinar panel on the right side of your screen. But wanted to bring you up to speed on a few additional seminars that we have coming up in the very near future. On April 24th and 25th, respectively in Verona, as well as within Waukesha, we have an OnBase Enterprise Content Management, OnBase 101 type of seminar. So those are actually on-site, different locations there. So feel free to visit navient.com and sign up for any of those. We do actually have a slide on the right-hand side here. If any of you are within the government sector whatsoever, feel free to join us for any of these seminars pertaining to digital transformation within the government sector. With that, watching the questions, I don't see anything as of this point in time, but I know, Paulina, you have one additional surprise here, right?
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to give you a chance to provide some answers and I can't say that word, anonymously. If you would like to receive some information about the solutions we've provided, or maybe you're ready for a demo, you have a chance to then select the radio buttons right there on the poll question, as long as I launch it. There you go. So you should see this poll question come up. Feel free to provide your answers. That way the questions aren't going through a group chat. Instead, they will be personalized and individualized. I will give you about 20 seconds to answer.
And I'm watching the questions also while we're waiting for your responses here. I don't currently see anything coming through with the questions right now, but feel free to reach out to myself. I know that once Paulina closes this poll, we'll see my email address and contact information again. So please feel free to contact me to discuss ShareBase any further, and we can gather pass along as much information as we can pertaining to the solution.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and close this poll, and on your screen you can see the contact information. It's been a pleasure to provide the ShareBase information for you today, and I wanted to thank you for all of your time.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder again, everybody that had actually signed up for this webinar will receive a link to the recording here, so feel free to disseminate that to other people within your organization. Thank you so much for taking your time today. On behalf of Paulina and myself, we truly appreciate your attention during this webinar, and I hope that you have a fabulous day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.